The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the host of this show are for entertainment purposes only. I repeat, this is not serious, this is not real. I am an untrained professional content creator who is freestyling this show. I do not encourage you to try this at home alone. Enjoy the show.
What up, beautiful people? What up? Welcome to episode 7 of Chica's Locas. I am your co-host, Cynthia. I go by the YouTube name of What's Up, Cynthia. And next to me on stage is Yolanda, who goes by the Mad Chatter.
Hola, hola, buenos noches.
How are you doing today, Chica?
I'm good. I'm feeling faithful and strong for tonight's topic.
Faith in the digital age. Did you like the song I played? That's why I picked Personal Jesus, but I did a little different. I did the Johnny Cash.
You know, I like that version better than Depeche Mode.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah, Johnny. I think Rachel in the chat said Johnny Cash was the bomb, and true indeed, true indeed. We have a hot topic scheduled for tonight, talking about faith in the digital world and just kind of how we navigate through it. The metaverse can be a very big place, and you're going to meet people along the way who have different beliefs than you. And tonight, we just want to talk to you a little bit about it, maybe give you a little bit of what could or couldn't happen, and just some things that make you think when you step into these conversations, some tools and tips to help you navigate through them better.
Yeah, I've noticed that these streams that we've been doing have kind of been right on topic with what's been going on in the metaverse these days. They like to point the finger at us and tell us that we're ridiculous and silly, or we may not know what we're talking about. But it seems to me like what we are talking about ties into what's happening out here in this world and in this metaverse.
Mm-hmm. Before we get started, I want to obviously say hello to the distinguished chatters of ours and remind everybody to hit that like button. First and foremost, we have the Mad Chatter, also known as Yolanda, the co-host, Chicas Locas. Yes, indeed. The way this show works is 1 week we will stream the show live from my channel, and the other Yolanda today is restreaming it on her channel. Next week we will be live on Yolanda's channel, and I will be restreaming it on my channel. We do this to help each other build up their pages and just keep us sharp on what it takes to produce a show. I ask that you make sure to subscribe to both of our channels, and please hit the like button. I'm going to go ahead and drop your link in my chat.
Thank you. And I'm going to drop yours over in mine.
And let me start by saying hello to the chatters. All right, we got Andrew coming in. Nice night. Andrew, I saw your comment earlier. A very sweet comment. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that. Hello, Rachel. Thank you again. You're right. Johnny Cash was the bomb. And I'm glad you said that, because I was a little worried. Are they gonna know who it is? So yay. We have the beautiful Bex in the building. Bex, I was just on a panel and I said something, and somebody said in the chat to me, "You sound like Bex." And I said, "That's the sweetest thing anybody's ever said to me."
Right, what a compliment.
I felt like I was so smart for a second, like, yay. So shout out to you, Bex. Bex says, almost after a month out of chat, I'm back for a visit. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to see you. Ooh, old Joe is coming in asking for the link. Oh, Joe, I normally don't do this, but you, my dear friend, are a VIP member that you didn't know, but you were gifted one. So I'm going to take care of that for you. Tonight, we are talking about sharing our faith in a digital world, and I'm quite sure you have some beautiful insight for that. So let me get this going your way real quick. Yolanda, do you have any opening words you want to say?
No, I want to go ahead and let you take the reins here on where you're going to go
Okay.
in the conversation, and then I'll tap in.
Thank you. Alrighty, guys. So tonight, I want you guys to answer in the chat. Is there anything you won't share? Hold. Well, my goodness. Oh, Joe took the speedy train here. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Cynthia. How are things this evening?
They're doing well. Thank you. Let me ask you guys a question on panel and the chatters a question. Is there anything of yours that you will not share?
For me, I'm the kind of person that generally I like to share what I have to offer. But the only thing I could think of that I won't share is my toothbrush.
Absolutely. Definitely do never share your toothbrush
Not my toothbrush.
Oh, Joe, what will you not share?
The answer used to be no, but now the answer is yes. I will never again share my heart.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I'm not like Yolanda. I don't like to share a lot of things. I don't share my chunnies. And for those of you who don't know what chunnies is, it means underwear. I won't share that. I have this weird thing about I won't share my pens and notebook papers. I don't know why. I love pen and paper. And I feel like if I share my pen and paper, I lost a pen and paper. And I even kind of mourn for it a little bit. So I just realized just don't share them and you won't feel bad that you lost them.
Well, now that you put it like that, there are weird little things that I have like that now that I think about it here at home. When I have company and they're going to stay with me, I don't want them using my coffee cup.
Yeah.
I have this like bizarre, I don't want them to break it. I don't know what that is.
Oh,
why
you're right.
I have to rejig my answer now that I hear yours because I misunderstood. I won't share my axe ever.
Oh.
Your deodorant or body spray?
My physical axe.
Oh.
I knew he was talking about an actual axe, especially because he's Canadian.
Okay. My bad. My blonde moment there, old Joe. Wow, interesting. Is it because other people might make it dull or?
Exactly. An axe takes hours to get a fine edge on it. And if you don't know how to use it, you can destroy that very quickly. I've seen that happen multiple times with good friends, and it creates a really awkward moment when you have to address the fact that they're misusing that tool. So I don't know if you have any other tools like that that require maintenance and that will cause you a lot of work if people misuse them. But it kind of strains the friendship when you have to say, hey, you're misusing that. So the best solution is just to avoid sharing it.
Gosh, that is really good advice because I use scissors, I use shears in my profession, and I'll never forget when somebody tried to use my shears to cut fabric with it and not hair, and I about lost my mind to change the way the scissors work. But good point.
You're not a hairdresser, are you, Yolanda?
I actually groom dogs and cats.
So from what I hear, for cutting hair, shears and scissors are exceptionally important, finely tuned, and quite expensive.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and there's different shears for different textures of hair. So that's why I understood what you meant immediately. If someone isn't going to use your axe properly, they will ruin the way that it works. Mm-hmm. But anyway, why you ask, Cynthia?
No, I was like, oh my gosh, what tools? Like my pens are my tools. I don't want the ink to run out. I mean, maybe they're not like I have to sharpen them and stuff, but I do look at my pens like a tool because it is I can write letters and stuff to them. But I'm asking because in this modern times we're seeing a lot of people turn away from traditional religions, such as going to church. And a lot of people are now turning to YouTube, to panels such as this, and trying to take this spiritual journey that way. And so tonight I wanted to talk about sharing our faith online. We've talked about what we won't share, but I'm pretty sure that if I asked, hey, would you share us what your beliefs are? Most people are excited to share that belief with others. Would y'all agree?
Yes, and look at what Miss Bex's last comment is.
Oh, okay. See? Um, well, Bex, I'm hope that you find your empathy again, and hopefully sharing our faith helps you to find that again. Again, a lot of people just rally around communities and have questions, which is where I personally go to church every Sunday. And then when I have questions about my faith or my beliefs, I would talk to somebody there. But however, since a lot of people don't go to church, they're turning to the internet for that. And although it strengthens our faith when we share it, however, we want to be aware of people that, I don't know how to say, how they would share something or they could lead you astray, uh, and take you into something on that spiritual journey that may not be best for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I can also see where you're going about the sharing, that people have transferred their times that they would be spending at church with their community there amongst
Mm-hmm.
their parishes, and um, now it's branching over in here into the digital. So it helps us build bridges with each other, whether we're in a physical building, but now here online. So I see where you're going, because I see genuine connections and then potentially understandings between one another on these panels, when we talk about our different beliefs and our backgrounds. And it's also brought me knowledge, and I look forward to promoting what I learn from the
Mm-hmm.
dialogue in these conversations.
Nice. Oh, Joe.
Cynthia, would you say, in your experience, is one way better than the other, online versus in a house of worship, in terms of sharing your faith? I'm willing to answer that question for myself, but I'm
What
wondering what
is
you
one
think.
way better, or I don't know how you would define better, but the way I can answer is I have found over sharing the same, I use the same technique both ways. I share a story or a testimony and just spark dialogue. I do that online as well as in Sunday school and in service.
Okay. So I myself, I'll start by taking a firm stance.
Mm-hmm.
I believe sharing our faith, if given the option, in person is objectively better than online. I think there's a deeper interaction in person. There's songs that you share. There's something that doesn't occur online that occurs in person. And I'm concerned about some of the things that creep into online interactions. They concern me.
Oh, Joe, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. I'm going to share a story with y'all. Like twice in my lifetime, music directors have asked me just to lip sync the words and not to actually sing, right? It was devastating in elementary school, but more degrading as an adult. So I realized that I was not blessed with a voice of an angel. So for me, singing is something I don't even like to do in church. I'm like, oh my gosh, why are we singing? However, over the years, I've come to realize when we all sing, and trust me, I sing so quietly, and sometimes I'm even just mouthing the words, there is a certain unity that can be felt in that room. So I absolutely agree with you, old Joe. And I
So,
also, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, I'll just say quickly, whoever it was that told you to lip sync and not to sing at a young age was not doing their job. I criticize that person. I'm going to reach back through time and
My music
criticize that individual, whoever that was.
That was my music teacher.
Yeah. So
My
that
goodness.
even that being said, I disagree with that. I don't think that person did justice to their job as a music teacher by making that statement to you.
Oh, thank you. And I do like I feel like when I'm in the shower, I feel like I'm pretty good, but apparently it might just be my bathroom.
Well, the
Go ahead,
voice,
Yolanda. I'm sorry.
yeah, the voice is important in communication and for our vessel. So whether you're singing with a group of individuals and you're all coming together on the same frequency and it manifests into spirituality within the vessel
Mm-hmm.
by the notes that we are singing, or even when you're doing it in your own time, like that's I think a key component to what this reality is, even down, for example, don't you sing to your children and to your grandbabies? You know, that it's a sense of connection.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's like a vibration in the notes and everything that you put out as well.
Yes, masters of music and all spiritual practices incorporate instruments and vocalization to help the body become that antenna to connect to source, in my opinion.
Nice. Well, I also agree with Joe when he says that there's some things up there that are concerning, because you're absolutely right, Joe. There, in the song earlier that I was playing by Johnny Cash, there's a line in the song that says, "Pick up the receiver and I'll make you a believer." And I thought, wow, because there was the time that we only picked up phones. Remember the 1-800 party lines, the things that you could do, the people you could call. But now we have this panel verse and people are able to connect that way. And there have been examples of people having cults that actually met online. For instance, there's the Carbon Nation cult. Are any of you familiar with them?
No, this is my first introduction to the carbon cult.
The Carbon Nation.
I've
So
never heard of them.
never. They were a cult. The gentleman in the middle in the blue was the cult leader. He called himself Nature Boy or Three God. And he met people on social media platforms. He spoke a lot about living in nature, getting back to our roots, much like a lot of people speak. You know, when the time comes, are you going to be ready? People began reaching out to him. And as you can see, he developed a big following. They would leave their life behind and they would travel with him, whether it be through Hawaii, Costa Rica. And he ended up actually in Georgia. The lady in the blue next to him is his wife at the time. However, there was a situation between them, and well, he now has a life, and he for revenge P. What? How would I say that? Revenge porn. He in his cult he promoted veganism, polyism, nudity, astrology, and sleeping and defecating outside. And he did believe himself to be God. There was another cult. You guys know Mother. What's her name? Mother Love.
No, this is I didn't know that this was what her name was, but when you said life, do you mean he's doing life in prison in the last
Yes,
cult?
yes.
Uh-oh, so he got
The
in
wife.
trouble.
Yeah, the wife that he is next to, they broke up, they divorced, and when they divorced, he released some personal videos. However, in the cult, like the cult streamed 24 hours. That because they were on another platform called Bigo. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that. And that you could stream 24 hours and people would give you money. So everybody had to stream. So there were people that would give him like over $100,000 and they would leave their life behind. There was one lady that actually went and she left her medication because he convinced her that they did not need medication, that this lifestyle was healing, and she eventually passed away.
Oh my. So this cult still a thing?
Well,
or?
interesting enough, the cult has disbanded. None of these women up here now. However, there are 3 wives, and the 3 wives still run his page and promote him, like what he's telling them from prison. A couple of the men, I'm not sure which ones they are, but a couple of the men have now gone their way and they have now have their own following.
Oh my goodness.
It's very interesting. And then of course there was this let me look her name up. She Love is a mother god. She can tell people that she was God. Same thing, the same type of lifestyle. Give up all your belongings, come and live with me. And her thing was there was a spaceship that was going to come and get her. However, when she passed away, her followers did not know what to do, so they just kept her body and kept her body moving, hoping the spaceship would come pick it up. Somebody eventually did call the police on them, and she was given a final resting place. So I agree, Ojo. You have to be very, very careful. It's very dangerous when you're looking for spiritual guidance, who you listen to and what you follow.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, those are 2 really good examples of how people cult themselves up to a person. And this ties back into what we were talking about a couple streams ago about grooming people online. My goodness.
Yeah. And the isolation of the times, but the convenience of being able to connect on social media is very, very dangerous. It can make for a dangerous recipe. I'll say it that way.
Yes, ma'am. And this, I've had a conversation with you about the Chat GPT component to this too.
Mm-hmm.
People are really feeling like the Chat GPT is telling them spiritual messages that are similar to kind of what those cult leaders were telling people.
Hey, Jalen. Absolutely. Oh, Joe, have you had any experience with sharing your faith online?
Oh, have I ever? I've gone up against the meanest debaters online, Cynthia, and sharing my beliefs, and you've been there to see it. But I'm more interested in. I came up here with a purpose, but I'm going to abandon that, and I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that as a person of faith, for you to try and represent that or express that online is challenging?
Yes.
Okay, how the issue that I just asked you about, how big of an issue is that for you in your panelverse experience when people ask you about your faith?
In the beginning, it was hard. I'm a woman of faith, and I thought, this is great. I'm going to go online and I'm going to share my faith, and some people are going to like it, but other people are not going to like it, and other people are going to love it, and I'm going to really get no pushback. It's going to be easy breezy. And that was completely not how it turned out to be. So rather than trying to debate my faith, I quickly realized I needed to learn to stand in my faith.
What is the difference?
The difference is, one, when I try to defend it and tell you, well, according to this teaching and according to this belief, this is why I act the way that I do. However, versus like I can tell you why I did something and I can either correlate it back to, well, because when I studied that in the Bible, that was something I needed to work on. And that's how come I was able to work on it. Or this is something that I shouldn't be doing and I should work on it because according to what I believe in, da 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 da.
Okay,
Did I
so
clarify that? Did I make it good?
yes, I just don't want to misunderstand because this is very important.
Okay.
Remember, we talked about the types of questioning and the
Yes.
leading questioning. This is not leading questioning happening right now. I am asking genuinely because I want to know. Do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you have given up the need to defend your faith online?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you think that was a transition that you had to make? Did you initially come to this panelverse thinking that you had to defend your faith?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what caused you to change that?
I'm not skilled enough and I'm not verbally, I'm not able to convey the messages I want correctly. So
Last question, Cynthia. You don't need to say anymore. Then I'm going to
oh,
drop down
oh,
because you've been very brave in how you answered. Are you okay with that? Are you sure?
well,
What you just told me, the fact that I'm not saying I see it that way. I'm saying what you see. You feel you're not skilled enough to
mhm.
defend. Would you
Just
like to be if you could?
well, skilled enough in defending it of the sense of using it as a teaching tool, but I'm very competent in standing in it, which is why I keep saying I had to learn to stand in it and share my testimonies. And through that, it's become easier in learning to be to tell them better, like be a structure in the story and convey the message I want to. Is that
I
like,
understand.
yeah, I feel
I
like one's
understand.
teaching and one's testifying. And I'm a better testifier than I am a teacher.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you leaving? Like, you're more than welcome to stay. Because part of this next part was we're going to talk about how to navigate through these type of hard conversations. And I like the way that you said, the type of questions that you asked. There was the exploratory questions, and what was the other one?
There's exploratory questions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you're legitimately as a questioner seeking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you asked me a question, and I'm going to give you some examples on your panel here with a
Mm-hmm.
small audience of when I've used this
Oh.
technique and when I've known what the answers I was going for were. It's called didactic questioning. And they're questions when you're trying to bring a person to a certain conclusion, or not necessarily a person, an audience. Take, for example, my recent conversation, not recent, but a couple months back on Flo's panel with Sarah the Tomato. There was something going on there that people still don't, some people, I've been contacted by multiple people about that conversation, that
Mm-hmm.
some people don't get, but that I got, and that Sarah got, and that Flo got as well. And that's when I was using didactic questioning, and you mentioned something about how I can be negatively perceived when I start asking questions as if I know the answer. The reason is, in that circumstance, is because there's a multiple people in that conversation that know the answer and who have an interest in keeping the truth concealed. Another example would be when I was asking Lindsay about her feelings about Flo. You remember that?
Yes.
We all could see it, everyone. But since there was a denial going on, the didactic questioning came in. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I don't really want to know the answer. I know the answer. Everyone around us does. But in this case, Cynthia, when I'm asking you the question, because I remember you specifically talking about, I don't like to express my views on religion in the panelverse. I remember you saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
Yeah. I feel like when you put a target on you.
Okay, so here's the way I see it. It's cheap grace to try and criticize somebody for their belief in God, because God is something that I believe by nature is beyond the human intellect, beyond language. So if you try and come into a circumstance with a bunch of strangers and express your faith, you can be attacked on a logical level that actually isn't even fair. So what I'm hoping, what my real hope is, Cynthia, is that you don't feel bad because of that, which is why I asked you that question. Are you okay with the fact that representing God online is and defending your faith is something that you don't need to do? Because I hope that it is.
Yeah,
I hope you're good with it.
instead I look at it's just I need to look for the moments of where I can give my testimony, and those moments I look for, and don't focus on, well, that's wrong what you're saying and according to da 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 da, because like you say, how can I convey my faith? It's beyond language, and all I can do is stand in it, and hopefully others see it.
Do you remember the night on Flows where I argued with Jim Bob? I don't know if you're there for 2 hours.
No, I don't.
In the end, the discussion was around faith and how we have to start with faith, because the things that our senses tell us are not necessarily true. We have to doubt them. So it's been my experience that the people, Cynthia, that take the position of faith bounded by some logic, they think about these things. They don't just blindly have faith, because then they wind up in cults like you've pointed out already. But if you employ some logic and then live in faith, and I say this is not a religious man, I believe those people are happier in the end than the people who come online and attack questioningly and cause people like you to say, I don't want to speak about my beliefs. So let me try and phrase that more clearly. The people that would attack you and give you doubt and say, I don't want to express my views about faith online, I think those people are less happy objectively than you are in the end, which is why I say that houses of worship are objectively better places to express your faith than through a computer.
Well said, Ojo. Yolanda, do you have anything you want to add?
I agree with him, because the sense of worship and community and communing with other people, you get that more in a place where like-minded faith-based people are at. And when we click a link and we come up here and we try to express what our faith is, Jalen said it really well. These people on the internet are godless. It's a waste of time to talk faith with logic leading people. So I was almost a little hesitant to want to do this topic, because I feel the same way that you do. Because I can bring a concept of something from another religion, bring it up on a panel, talk about it, and still be accused of it, even though it may not be a part of my faith-based system. But it goes back to that didactic questioning that old Joe was just referencing, because I'm still learning. Every day is a new day to learn something new, you know?
Absolutely. Ojo, I don't want to seem like, I hope I don't come off as I'm not going to speak about my faith anymore, but as more I'm going to be look for other ways to present it. So many times in the church, we always say, now remember, guys, sometimes you're the only Bible people will ever know. And so I took that very seriously. And through my studies and my being able to spend time in fellowship with my community of my church, I've been able to learn different ways to do that. So, yes, I absolutely agree. The internet is full of godless people, logic people who are going to try to tear you down. But that is an opportunity for you to stand in it more and just be like, there's something different about that person. What is it different about that person? and then when find moments of where I can give glory to God as I'm called to do.
Yeah. So I think the last thing I'll say is that there are people out there that, for some reason, recognize good, recognize something good, and it is something they can't stand in. It bothers them.
Mm-hmm.
And they can function in places like the internet. And as I work my way intellectually through this problem, and the reason that I say that the houses of worship are objectively better, it's because those people that come to a conversation in bad faith with bad intentions can function far more easily in a place like the Panelverse than they can in a house of worship where people are making meals together, singing together, operating as a community. And the biggest concern I have, especially when I heard you say that, you feel hesitant to express your opinions on your religion online, is that, and this is where I will admit I may be wrong, Cynthia, but I would hate to see those people that are trying to tear down something good have a measure of success. I am
Mm-hmm.
asking you that not to give up your desire that you expressed earlier. You mentioned a transition from a place where you would express your faith to a place where you would live in it.
Mm-hmm.
I am asking you to continue to express your faith, and that if the debaters want to come at you, allow them to. And with that, I am going to leave you, ladies.
Thank you,
And
Joe, so much for coming up. I appreciate it.
thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's old Joe. And I loved that conversation we just had, Yolanda.
He was so on point.
Yeah.
I really appreciated how he tied that all together, because I know that you guys have spent a lot of time on these panels with one another. So it was
Mm-hmm.
interesting to just sit back and listen to the wisdom that he attained from the conversations that you guys have had with each other. But I mean, as he was speaking towards the end there, talking about bad faith, disingenuous individuals, I was going through that Rolodex of people in my mind, that have persuaded me from wanting to engage and have these conversations anymore these days. But the way he just presented it was really interesting. I really appreciated that.
Absolutely. And he was also clear example of what it takes to have a positive conversation about faith. Because I was going to go into, well, if you want to have good conversations, you have to listen and understand the other person. And I think that Joe does a wonderful, wonderful job of listening. And I because I understand the type of questionnaire he is, I focused on just pay attention to the question and don't try to get ahead of him. Just allow the dialogue to unreveal itself naturally. And I liked how he said you have to come to the conversations with good faith.
Well, even he's obviously a teacher. Is he a teacher?
I have no idea. He's
He
old
comes
Joe. He's
well,
wise.
he comes across to me as a teacher because he let us know what the definition of didactic questioning was.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not something I use in my vocabulary, and his explanation made perfect sense to me. So I appreciate that he broke that down, what the difference was. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have accusations of being, what did they like to tell you that you are?
A fake Christian.
No,
Oh,
HR.
oh, HR, Karen.
Right. But what you are actually doing is didactic questioning.
Mm.
You're trying to learn, you're trying to assess the situation, and uh, they're so defensive and insecure that they use it as an
Mm-hmm.
insult instead of just seeing that you're trying to genuinely have a conversation and learn about that person in that moment.
Well, um, I also think that it was important that I was myself. To be yourself, to embrace your quirkiness. I'm a super quirky person, and try not to just to be myself when I answer the questions, and to also, like we're talking about now, embrace the dialogue. Go into the dialogue understanding that you're going to grow from it. Conversations help helping shine. Iron helps sharpen iron, and just being open to learning about one another, and most of all, be respectful in the conversation. I've had several conversations in my real life and in my metaversal life, of people who believe different than I do, and it's never gotten disrespectful.
Yeah, because these, especially with the conversation of faith, it leads to it gets really heated and adds a lot of contention between the people who are speaking, and then that's where the misunderstandings happen, and then potentially that's where the conflicts start. So it is important to come at an angle of, kindness and respect
I loved
the
it.
topic of faith.
Absolutely. I just dropped the link for anybody who wants to come in and join the conversation. We are talking about sharing your faith online. Do you do it? Do you not do it? How do you go about approaching it? And what experiences have you had in this digital world? Our words, we all know it, we all say it, but I'm going to say it again. The power is in our tongue. Are we going to speak life into each other, or are we going to speak death into each other? We already have our first guest up, and let me put it up just to make sure, because I've been getting porn bombed lately. Let me get a mic check, Chica.
You know me. Yeah, it's me.
I know. I just don't know who's who anymore. They came up as somebody else, they were out, and they porn bombed me. Welcome to the stage.
Welcome back.
Hey, thank you. I just wanted to pop up real quickly because I like your topic. And I believe in regardless of where I am in my faith journey, I believe in owning your stuff. And so I owe Cynthia an apology.
Oh, for what, Chica?
It was completely intentional. God knows my heart, whatever you want to perceive God, whatever. I did not understand that one person on the panelverse, I don't want to mention their name,
right,
enjoys triggering another person who's fairly new. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I shared an interview you had with that person who shall not be named. And so I didn't know there was like a back history there of 3 weeks and stuff. I don't watch every episode of every panelist, even the ones I like, there's no way I'm going to connect the dots. And so they thought you were messing with them or not defending them. And I kind of understood where you're coming from. I kind of didn't. I'm like, well, yeah, that person was also throwing stuff at you. And so I'm like, well, okay, I don't really think it's like that. I just didn't know if they knew that this other person was swiping at them. And that's why I shared it. There was no ill will meant whatsoever. And I actually got a little upset. And anyway,
well, I appreciate your apology. Girl, thank you so much for coming up and saying that. I do appreciate that. And I like that we were able to talk about it again. Are you talking about NPC?
Yes.
Oh, girl, yes. I was just on his page. Okay, so did you see where we made up?
No, but I mean, it seemed like it was towards the end, but I felt like, why did you? Yeah. I missed a lot of it, but I was just upset that it was twisted I felt like what I was doing, like that got twisted somehow. And so I was upset because I'm like, I like Cynthia, and so I just felt like, well, for my part of it,
my bad.
For my part, I would always just own, whatever crap stirring that I may inadvertently do, but not intending to do. Does that make sense?
I didn't even know who sent it, but you really should check out our last show. They came up the last 10 minutes.
Good.
And we were able to talk it out, and we got Joe Cool was there, and we had a better understanding of each other. And
I got at the very
his page today talking to him about apparently what's ever going on in the world, where like the high energy is going to last for 14 years. So.
To
I don't know.
Joe.
Thank you so much, though. But now I was like, what is she talking about? But now, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just didn't want you like and that's what I said. I was like, I don't want her paranoid thinking, mods are ratting her out or anything. And that was part of the issue that I had. I'm like, I stand in what I do and what my intentions were.
Apparently, me and you were on a panel, and everybody else was racist, and apparently me and you were the only good-looking people on some racist panel. I don't even remember, but that's what I keep
I have no idea what you mean.
me and the girl with the black cat icon. Everybody else was racist, apparently. This is what I'm hearing.
I don't remember that one, but I believe you.
That's what I said. I'll be on too many panels. I don't even remember, but I know the girl you're talking about.
That's funny. I mean, I don't remember it, but yeah, it's maybe true, but I don't usually stand on that kind of stuff. I try to shoot it down, or I avoid people who drop words like that and sentiments like that.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was the elusive shit. And this is a white chick who was saying this shit too, from Texas. I think you're from Texas. She was saying that everybody on here was having inherently racist shit. It wasn't like, saying shit necessarily about black motherfuckers. It was all about, keep the immigrants out, or fuck other countries, or white nationalists. That bullshit. Everybody should be like us. It was that type of racist bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Now that I have you guys up here, I have actually had conversations with both of you about y'all's spiritual journey. What has been your experience sharing it? Because I'm sure there's been differences, right?
Well, I mean, when I was practicing, I really loved the quote when I was very Catholic. It says, "Preach the gospel wherever you go, and when necessary, use words." I think it's more important to live your life according to your creed.
Yeah, that's dope.
And so I never really, even when I was in it, I didn't talk about it. I didn't shove it down people's throats. And like, if they want to ask me what I'm doing or what I believe in, then and if you want to attack me for my faith, which was very funny, that happened once, and the person just assumed that I was against gay marriage and all kinds of stuff. This was like a while back when it was a hot button issue, and they just attacked me in front of a group of our mutual friends from high school. And I was like, this is funny. You didn't even ask what my feelings or beliefs were, and you just automatically assumed I felt a certain way or thought a certain way because of my religious affiliation, and now you've been persecuting me in front of all these people. This is great. Let's go.
Wait. You're saying religious affiliation, or you were part of a religion?
No, I was at that point. I was very much.
I can make certain assumptions about how you believe. If you say you're a Christian, I can make certain assumptions, or a Muslim, or whatever. Once you tell a person you're so and so, yeah, they're supposed to. Well, they maybe not supposed to, but I can see a person making assumptions. Here's your average Christian. If you're not Christian, you're going to hell. Jesus didn't. If you don't, Jesus didn't circumcise you, you're going to hell. If you don't believe Jesus rose on the third day, you're going to hell. That's your normal Christian.
Oh yeah, this wasn't like that. This was more of my secular friends who were very pro-gay marriage at the time, and we were around a bunch of our secular friends from high school, and because it was known that I converted at that point to Catholicism, it was just like game on in front of everyone, put me in the hot seat, and it was hilarious.
When they write, if you're Catholic, I don't know a lot about religion, but if you're Catholic, you're not supposed to like gay people, right?
No, I don't think that at all. I don't think that's true either. They were
Yeah.
just opposed to gay marriage back then, but at the same time, I wasn't even asked. Like, my opinion wasn't even asked before I was attacked for what I supposedly hypothetically believed. And I'm like, this is awesome, you know? I get a chance. And so I just clarified because I kind of like a good debate every now and then. And so I just asked them, I was like, so wait, you're gonna attack me for my religious beliefs on my birthday? And
Oh,
then they backtracked and they're like, "Oh, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't meaning to do that." Da, da, da." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then it came up a few more minutes later in a slightly less hostile way. And
I,
then I was like, "Oh, so we are going to attack me for my religious beliefs on my birthday. Let's go." And then
yeah,
I
why
just
not? Good as
I
day
just
as
started
any.
I just
I, I
started
was
dropping
I
everything. It
was
was
trying
funny.
to lead you with that questioning a little bit. Where I'm
Yeah.
going is that um, you seem like to me the person who would not have a problem with people gay, let them do their own shit. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
but I would assume if you take that shit to your church, they'll be like, no, gay people are bad, they're immoral, or they want you to be harder stance. That was my assumption.
Well, Catholics are kind of all over the place. Yeah, I didn't
They
have a hive mind mentality even when I was more active, or active at all.
I got a buddy who's gay. I almost say he was gay, as if he quit being gay. He's gay as hell. This is probably my best friend. I love him to death. And he was a deacon in his church, and that was all he lived for and talked about. And he's, talked with the lesbian. Everybody know he's outright gay, and he's been there for years. And he get in an argument with one of the people at the church, and then they go tell a pastor. I'm like, nigga, pastor, no, you gay. But under pressure, they kicked him out the church. It
Yeah.
broke him, bro. It
Mm,
broke
That's
him.
just, yeah.
mm.
Y'all know that shit. The man is damn near flamboyant, and he's
Oh
the
my
greatest
gosh,
guy in the
yeah.
world.
I mean,
That's my
that's
3 o'clock in the morning. If you get a flat tire call, that's how great he is to me. I
Mm.
think the world of him.
that's good. I mean,
Uh,
yeah, I lived in what I called the International Gay Melrose Place when I was in college.
hmm,
So I mean, I've had plenty of gay friends. I used to
I
be an
could
HIV
tell.
activist.
Are you
So I,
still a Catholic?
no, I am in limbo. Haha, pun intended. Um, with regards to religions,
But
I'm not.
I could say, or can I say that you certainly believe
Yeah, oh,
in
yeah.
Jesus and God? Can I say that?
I definitely believe in something that's higher than myself. I mean, there's no way that you can explain a lot of weird stuff that's happened in my life. But yeah, no, I definitely believe in a higher power. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I want to
Uh,
even define
Mm.
it. And I've definitely gained a lot from my Christian walk. I don't know if I'm still called in that direction right now, and I don't really want to be evangelized. But
uh,
I'm kind of like I said, I'm in limbo, and I'm not really searching right now for the
Jay,
first.
what's up, baby? I just zoomed in. What's good,
Jalen's
pal?
Hey,
cool.
hi, welcome. Y'all were talking. I didn't want to interrupt. Welcome to the stage, Jalen. How are you this evening?
I'm straight, just chilling on it.
Nice, nice.
Jay, I was talking about you today or yesterday, and someone had just went to your show and was like, "Oh my God, I've seen this dude on other panels. I had no idea he was that good. He was so powerful. I damn near called you. I wish I could remember exactly what she said you talked about. I think it had something to do with George Floyd or something, but it was
Yeah, that
pretty.
was my last show, man. Just talking about how ain't shit changed, man. You know what I'm saying?
How
Change and
uh,
ain't changed. Yeah, like same old shit with that. You know what I'm saying? As far as that being concerned,
she's talking
but as
about how
far as
you
state though, man,
okay. Yeah, no,
yeah,
no.
man. Me, I don't know. Like I said, I've had I've been, I believe, like as far as sharing faith online. Like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of started out like debating motherfuckers like the atheists and shit, and the and also kind of being on the side of kind of being, I guess you can say, what, bigoted. You know what I'm saying, by going against like the trans community on TikTok. I'm not even capping, bro. Like this was like, especially when it first started having like the big movement on TikTok and stuff with everything, and everybody had their different little channels talking about different issues. Everybody kind of went their ways, and I kind of aligned with most of the left, I guess you could say, on most things except for like the LGBTQ. You know what I'm saying? Situation. Not that I'm sitting out here just like I want to argue with you, but if I feel like some shit is not true to me, I speak on it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I learned a long time ago after like doing that shit and just talking to actually talking to people. You know what I'm saying? Like some things you ain't just gotta like argue about, or just, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
like even if you do disagree with it, like some things, like why lead out, like, am I really this against a certain group of people doing some shit just because it's like that? But is it like that shouldn't be one of the first focal points in my mind when I see a person, like, damn, that shit they're doing wrong. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's kind of really what my experience came from, like experience going at them and stuff, going at different people on the whole situation with that, and it kind of taught me a little bit just about how like Christian values, at least on the a surface for everybody, people that kind of that are not Christian and look into it, it's a lot of assholery shit. It's a lot of holier than thou shit that they see out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see all the good moments and the bad moments out, because most of the people that I know probably in some way or form subscribe to the Christian religion in some way, shape, or form. Either they was in it at some point, or whether they are super faithful people, or led astray, or lost, in our terminology. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the biggest thing with me was, as far as getting on here, is that everything is more intellectually based and it's more
Mm.
information based. And can you back back up the proving of God through like actual facts in society? And me, I feel like, I don't know, if
Right.
you're a Bible believer, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, the Bible don't tell you to go trying to figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? Go out here and find Noah's Ark and all that shit like that. So if you really supposed to be believing in the book, you ain't. Why are Christians having conversations like this as opposed to figuring out ways to get closer to God and I guess the spiritual, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Analogy
I
wise, whatever
think I
however
hear
you
where you're
take it.
going.
You know what I'm saying? But
It's a
like,
good
Yeah,
question. I mean, it's a great
Mhm.
question.
we're
or
arguing
So,
people
about.
trying to prove it. I mean, I can get why some people would want to disprove it, because I mean, the Bible does put a lot on the table in a way of like
Yes, yes,
what is put
yeah.
out there before,
Makes
what
big
it made
claims.
Israelites do, what it's asking you to do as a
Yeah.
person. All these things are a lot that's putting on the table, right?
But
And
between two Christians, why are we arguing whether this guy, the battle was fought in the
or even
Philistines or the
arguing with
so and
atheists
so,
for that matter.
as opposed to trying to do good work down here and and putting that at least at higher priority, getting along, being an example, and that type of shit. Instead, you'd
Yeah,
rather argue in front of 8 people and about who's right as to what was the color of this guy, or whether he lived on this side of the line or that
Mhm.
side of
but
the
I think
line.
it's even bigger. Like, see, the thing inside Christian is this definitely it's a lot. That's the reason why Christianity is so factioned up now, right? So that's already the thing. But I think that even the worst part is the trying to, because the way that people are trying to convert people these days is literally by shame. And like, how can you know what I'm saying, like pile on a person that they're willing to
hmm
accept something, they're not leading with any of the ways that, I don't know, because you can use a lot of Jesus stories and how he handled situations and how he handled sin, that they wanted him to just smite this woman or do this to this person. And it seemed like for the most part, all he did was just keep lending his help to the sinners, right?
If you think
So
about it, Jason, Jalen, I don't want. I'm still talking about what you were talking about. If you think about it, at the time, they had a lot of writings out where when Jesus returned, they didn't know who he was, but when this guy returned, he was going to crush the system and all the bad guys. So they heard the same stories we heard. And when he got there and was talking about preach peace, a lot of people pushed him. You know what? No, you're supposed to be destroying them. You're supposed to be
Mhm.
tearing them up. So he was under even more pressure and stress to do bad shit and be angry.
exactly, but I'm just saying, 'cause I think we all have that certain level of play. Just because we're human, of course, he died, and that's a whole different situation. I'm not even really trying to compare those two and all that, but I'm just saying, like, we all have that pressure to do that shit. And I feel like to a certain degree, God, you know what I'm saying, being him, you know what I'm saying like, you know what I'm saying, even like it was a part of the, I can't give you the scripture where he says, you find it funny that I call that you say that I'm God or something. He said that I called David Lord or some shit like that. Like he called David Lord in a certain part of the passage or some shit like that. And he said even he calls me Lord or something. You know, I mean, and I think it's like to a certain degree we all have this higher being essence in us in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? We all can
Yeah,
create or destroy, right? And I
we're
feel
made
like
in the image and likeness of the creator.
yeah, so I feel like we all can create and destroy. Yeah, I feel like so many people focus their energy on destroying because they can't get a definitive answer to every fucking thing that the world has to offer.
That's
And
a
I
good
feel like,
point too. You're
and it's
absolutely
like,
right.
why?
When people find out, they get disappointed with their early religion or something, they don't just get mad; they get furious. Oh, Joe, you believe in some pie in the sky, master sky god? I mean, they go on the other end of the spectrum when they get disappointed and believe to something and find out it wasn't true.
Yeah, that's actually what happened with the friend from high school that was attacking me. Once I pulled her aside and I'm like, "Hey man, what's going on? We were always cool, and here you are like taking me in front of everybody, to try to rake me over the coals. What's going on?" And it turns out she had an uncle who was super judgy and condemning and religious, and because I had that
You
similar
catch your
religious,
uncle's
I
smoke.
caught all the strays. And I'm like, well, you know what? I appreciate you finally sharing because I didn't
Yes.
really think you were an a-hole. I would have never been friends with you, but I'm not your uncle. I will say some prayers for your uncle to quit being a jerk,
I
and
don't know
presenting.
how old you say this was high school, yeah?
No, no, no. These were friends from high school that I met up with on
Ah,
my birthday party,
okay.
like
Now I got it.
way later as
All right.
adults. And so because I had converted as an adult, but I had been kind of
All right.
a
Now, yeah.
wild
Now,
child.
I was giving you a break because you were a kid and kid can't articulate shit they're trying to find out. But I imagine
Nah, nah, nah.
if you're like you are now, if you want to test me on my beliefs, religion, even though I don't call it religion, my spiritual beliefs, anything I believe, it's not an attack. Nigga, come on. If you want to debate me about Joe, there is no God, this is an opportunity. I imagine by now, I wouldn't feel like, oh, you're going to bring that up on my birthday? I was giving you that because I'm picturing you 16, 17 years old. But the
Oh
grown
no.
motherfucker,
but if
here's
you
my
still on the
opportunity.
path of trying to figure out what God is, who God is, if there's a God for some people, right?
Right.
You don't want to be questioned about this shit as if, you know what I'm saying, it's just something like, oh, well, damn, you switched up, or damn, you went to this, or damn, what's going on here? Like, you don't want to be questioning that type
I
of.
don't even understand that, what you're saying, what either one of y'all are saying.
I'm saying, like, if a person is early in their, like, I don't know, walk of trying to figure this thing out, you know what I'm saying? Because some people say they got to figure it out. I say, all of y'all fucking lying. Because at the end of the day, don't nobody fucking know shit. Let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? We have faith. Faith requires not knowing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I
just
Right.
don't
like all of
understand a part about if you're here to preach God's word and blah, blah, blah. When a motherfucker hits your opportunity, I don't
but I
understand
mean,
motherfuckers telling
you
me,
gotta be in that
hey,
preaching
I don't
stage
question me
first.
about God.
You should be in that preaching stage first. Cause you know what I'm saying? What if you get to you just saying stuff because it's just how you feel, but
We're
people throw
just
out
as dumb
whatever
as
these
we were
facts
when we
is.
we're just as dumb as we were when we were 17 years old. And we're on the risk of run the same risk now. Being wrong. We
Exactly,
still
but you
trying to
might be
figure
more
out God.
comfortable because you
Still ain't
become
got no
more
answers.
versed. You might
That's
be
a
more
better
versed in the
that's a
word.
better argument, more
All I'm saying is
comfortable.
that you might be more versed in the word at a different age or a different time. It might be different for everybody. Some people probably
That's a better argument.
natural.
Ahimsa, is that the case? Were you still learning from a new conversion or something?
No, I'd been in the faith. I was actually pretty learned and could argue it theologically because I actually believed a lot of it, and I'm like, so that part about love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your will, your
Yeah.
strength. I took it seriously, so I read a whole lot, so I could explain a whole lot, and it created a whole different, like inside the group, I was able to steer it towards a whole bunch of topics that people weren't actually of a hive mind. They were very individualistic. And so it was good. I welcome when people attack my thoughts, though, because I feel like that's an opportunity
Except
for
on your
me to.
birthday.
I loved it. I loved it. I was like, okay, I'm just clarifying. You really want to go here, huh? And so she did, and so I welcomed it. And I'm like,
All right,
I'm
let me ask you another question. What is it that religion in particular let you down? What did you see?
It wasn't the spiritual walk, because I think what inside organized religion lets me down is that I feel like most of it has been hijacked for ego, for pride, for emotionalism, where people will appeal to, oh, come follow me and belong to my tribe. Well, okay, if you're actually walking your faith life, it's very freaking lonely. There's no it's you and God, you know. It's like, I think it was from Wild at Heart. We all long to belong, but we only ever fully belong to God. And so when you get that, you know, like it's just very, it changes things. So I got called into some really dark places of exposing the SA cover up inside the Catholic Church and whatnot. And then
that would have crushed you, yeah.
It didn't fully crush me insofar as my faith in like a higher power. It's
no,
more
I understood. That was the first thing out your mouth. You know, it didn't dissuade me from that. That was the first thing out your mouth. But I'm okay. Maybe I misspoke. That would have discouraged you from the religious part of it.
The system part, insofar as organizational behavior, where humans, you know, converge with one another, it's always going to be flawed. That doesn't mean you stop, you know, belonging or trying or whatever it is you're doing, but I don't necessarily agree.
What about this one? I felt like I just cannot do the tribal thing. You know, I know I did it in the gang shit. I was young, very young. But I remember going to jail when I was probably 20s or 30. And
I didn't get busted. My friends did, though. I escaped that like 2 months before. But yeah, I hear you.
But the point was, you have these certain rules, and the first rule is you got to put the gang before God and family and everything. And I took an issue with that shit. I had a problem with it. But I'm wondering if that is some type of thing that led me to, you know, thinking that joining groups were bad. So I only brought that up to say that is joining the church, period, probably a bad idea. It can't be. I love that somebody is out there promoting God, even though they suck at it. You know, I wouldn't take it away. So is it wrong?
Are you saying I suck at it?
No, God, no.
Okay, cool. Just clarifying.
Talk about me.
Okay. I gotcha.
The way they do it now, they suck at it.
I get you.
I'm like you. They're dancing on money. They're just playing on people's hearts. It's all about a show. It's really getting weird. But does that make it? You know, you left. You saw that it was not bright to join a religion or a group. Does that mean that it's not bright to join at all, or was it not just a fit for you?
No. It was right for me to go that path. Absolutely, 100%. I have no regrets.
Would you recommend another motherfucker join Christianity or a particular religion? I don't know.
If that's what they're called to, then I don't think I can stop them, even if I wanted to.
I don't think that was my question. I think that was a cop out. My question.
Yeah, it's cop out.
What would you recommend?
I own my shit.
Would you recommend it now at this time? A friend, somebody, you know, I'm thinking of join the church or whatever. Would you recommend it? I shouldn't even add it that much. Would you recommend a friend join the church?
Not really. I don't recommend my friends to do stuff. I support my friends and the choices that they're called to, but I even when I was in it, I wasn't like, oh, come join me. You know what I mean? Like, there were times where people wanted to come with me, and I was like, what? Okay, cool. And so, like, they wanted the cooties I had or something. You know what I mean? Like that, they wanted whatever piece that I was exuding. So
Jay,
I brought
are you in a church, Jay? And who is that in the top middle? I can't see nothing up there. A little colorful icon.
It's me, Yolanda.
That's Yolanda.
Oh shit! It's fucking your show. I'm stupid. Well, Yolanda too. I don't know you. I know Cynthia's what she feels about this. But one of you two, Jalen or Yolanda, would y'all recommend a friend join the church?
I would recommend that people educate themselves on the
God,
church and the
girl.
history of the church before they do that.
All right.
Because for me, I was raised Roman Catholic.
Is that a no first? I
Oh.
really like answers to my
That's
questions
cool.
before motherfuckers, do that.
No,
Was that a
Okay.
no? I would not necessarily recommend it. You're kind of like
correct.
Hamza said, do your homework, do your research. That's what
Yes.
I think you give me a similar answer. Okay, go ahead. You
Mhm.
continue. Is that it? Jay, would you recommend this shit? I don't know. And Jay, are you a Christian? It sounds like you are. He might be off playing with the kid or something.
Well, I would definitely recommend someone go to church. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't like, don't just go to one church and be like, I tried it. Because we've all gone and looked for an outfit and we've gone to more than one store.
I like it.
And I've also encouraged people, like, what are you looking for? Talk to God about your desires of your church. Like, find it. But you bring up a question. Oh, well, we'll wait for Yolanda to answer. And then I have a question afterwards.
I think, she wasn't done. I think Yolanda answered.
Oh, she might have stepped away too. Do you gain knowledge or wisdom from having conversations with unlike believers as your walk?
Do you
Absolutely.
gain knowledge and wisdom from having conversations?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where you gain probably more.
More?
Probably. You guys and like-minded motherfuckers are super beneficial. I've had you guys on panel formulate my arguments when they were just thoughts in my head, and you put the words there, and that's priceless. But at the same time, I see people do crazy shit. And by a little crazy, that shit like the insecurity. Motherfucker feel like he got to talk over other people or got to be the star of the show all the time and weird shit like that. And I learned so much from watching them. I feel like right now, I learn more from the people making missteps and the people who are like-minded.
Do you, when you say, is it strengthening your beliefs or is it adding to your beliefs?
I'm one of those zealots. You can't fuck with my belief. I'm 100%. I'm all in. The most I can do is get it wrong. I misinterpret something, but I know it's real. So you guys give me arguments, pro, and these guys give me arguments. When they argue against it, it makes me think about why I believe a certain thing. That helps. Is beneficial.
Absolutely, I agree. I heard you speak up, Yolanda.
Oh, I was just going to say that for me, I went through a time of being completely indoctrinated by everything that the church had practically raised my family and myself under the politics behind the church as well.
Ugh.
But then I had to grew up and learn the history of the church, right? Of the Roman Catholic Church and of the popes. And then I started to learn more about my friends and their faiths, whether they be Buddhist or Muslim or Christian. And then I got even further in my spiritual journey of wanting to learn about all of it and then seeing the connections and similarities. And then I got frustrated because I thought we're all fighting for no reason because these are all the same teachings.
Which means you're getting caught by the same demons they're getting caught by, the people you're judging. If you haven't got out of that fog and you still fighting each other over little small shit. And that's the way I think, Jesus used to talk to them. They argue over the little shit. And he would be like, we shouldn't be working on a Sunday. Are you crazy for allowing this to happen? And he would have to remind them that you shouldn't be thinking about that. You miss all this big shit. And you're arguing about whether you can work on a Sunday. If you're a donkey, you fall in the ditch on a Sunday, you're going to get them out how? You're going to work on a Sunday. But you're missing the be kind to all people and welcome to so-and-so. You're missing the big things. And you're arguing about whether Noah's Ark, how many animals was in it. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't. Legitimately, I don't think a lot of people see in big picture, though. They just don't, and
I
that's
would
part
agree,
of
but
the
go ahead.
that's part of the issue. Like when you come up against it, is that people don't see it.
So
So
you got to educate them as well as educate them. You can't just say what you want to say because you got to bring them up and school them from a 5-year-old to a 13-year-old so they'll understand the concept. That's fucked up.
Well, I still battle with that even with my grandparents that are almost 90 years old.
Right.
So I recognize and appreciate that their faith is so strong.
Yeah.
Their faith is so
Mhm.
strong that it doesn't matter what historical reference I have to tell them or any fact that I have about the church. It doesn't matter to them because their foundation of faith is
Yeah.
so secure, and I respect that.
But
So
I get the other part though that nigga follow a train of logic too. It irks me when a person that's just how I feel. I got no patience for that guy. I respect the guy who maybe that's a shortcoming of mine. I respect the guy who has a could reach the logical conclusion. And that's definitely a shortcoming. I'm
You
trying to
should
do
go back
better.
and listen to old Joe because he talked about how can we logically explain our faith. And he talked about the people who look at it from the logically way only.
Yeah, that'd be me.
well, that's just kind of loving God with only your mind and not really all of your heart
I
and
don't
your
know
and your
logic.
will.
If you're logical, if you
I'm
follow it,
logical, yeah.
okay, then it leads me straight there. It opens the floodgates for loving and with your heart and all of that. It seems so obvious. Logic leads you there. There is no logic in hurting another motherfucker if you don't want it done to you. Logic gets you to all these places. You don't have to just trust it. That's how it is. And God says that chase it with wisdom, scientifically, chase all of those, push all against it and test it. And it seems to work.
Yeah, it does say follow, test everything, follow what is good, what is true, and what is right. But I don't necessarily know, like, sometimes I feel like online when they're arguing, it's more pride.
Yeah.
And pride always goes before the fall. And
Always
so,
it's ego. Always ego.
yeah.
You can tell when motherfuckers, this don't apply all the time, but if a person all the time inserts themselves in the story, like I love a good story as much as the next. You guys have said some really good stories here tonight, but when every time a person opens their mouth and the conversation is about, let's say, about faith, well, when I was a kid, and if that you're like, it's all about you, motherfucker. And then they get to the point 20 minutes later. That's grandstanding. That's you think you're on stage right now. And that just irks me to no fucking end. People are really, this is weird, man. All right, I'm gonna get a little weird here.
Okay.
But like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
He's on the edge of her seat.
When I came into this shit, look, I'm doing the story about that I just said people do. A wrench, a friend of mine, he had to explain to me something about a wrench. I don't know if I took his wrench or what I did. And he explained to me, he's like, Joe, you out there filming this shit. That's why you don't give a fuck about a wrench. But to us, it's everything. It's the real thing. It's our so-and-so and it's our currency and all of that shit. And, now bringing it to religion, I feel it's the same way. I don't understand the wrench part of the way people deal with religion. I don't have a patience for it. Like I should have had patience for him and his wrench. I don't have patience for people who are learning the religious stuff and are bad at it. I don't. I'm so mean and angry and want to smack motherfuckers around.
What are you talking about?
I know I said that horribly. I'm trying to say that
example, I guess.
an example, yeah, where when people are on panels and they're learning their religious stuff in what I consider simplistic ways, having those dumb conversations about Mount Ararat versus Mount so and so, I want to be like, no, I feel like it's the young guy with the wrench who's missing, you know, who's. But perhaps I should be patient for people who are having these arguments. But in real life, I feel like you guys are missing it. Just the fact that you're arguing. Ain't you the same guy who yesterday was like, I don't fuck with people like that. If niggas say that, or ain't you the supposed to be the doctor who God sent, who's supposed to help the wounded? You know, I feel like I'm all the way over here, and you got to get over here where I'm at. Unconditional love for all and all of that shit. And you're, you know, fumbling through your fucking religious ways. Well, I ain't talked to my sister in 7 years. You know what she called me? How are you religious? How are you spiritual? I got no patience for most.
Jalen, were you about to say something? I saw you come off mute.
And Jay, I was wondering, are you a Christian? We can't hear you if you're talking, Pip.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Okay, you're on mute. Yeah, you're off mute. But we still can't hear you. Oh, he'll come back.
I was about to say.
Hey, do y'all think, because Jalen and I are from the South, do you think that our locations of our upbringing plays a huge part in our faith and our religion?
That's dope. I don't know. One of y'all girls probably answer that better than me, because.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're born in like China, you might be Buddhist or something. So, yeah, I mean, definitely where you were born and raised affects whatever religious affiliation you tend to have. So,
Can I have sent some sent that the South is generally more religious or more church going or something?
Absolutely. We're in the Bible Belt. There's a church on every corner.
I have no idea what a Bible Belt is. I had to Google it. I've heard the word. But.
Well, my family, my cousin that lives in Oklahoma says that is the main location of mega churches.
Yeah.
And so,
Oklahoma and Texas, yeah.
Yeah, and she worked and was raised with mega church, and she is no longer a part of those churches anymore because of learning the politics and stuff behind it.
That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, but just seeing, she said, you would not believe how different religion and church going, how different it is here in comparison, because I'm in California, and like I said, I was raised Roman Catholic, but even when they come here to visit, the churches here are not the same as back there in Oklahoma.
Can I say that I'm not shitting on church people, because the biggest asset that what's good? I don't want to read that yet because I'm gonna lose my train of thought. Hold on, I'll read it yet. I'm gonna lose my train of thought.
I'll do it in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, the biggest asset, one of the biggest assets, has been church people. You know, religious people. As much as I shit on and say, man, you gotta be open up, or whatever the fuck negative shit I say, these people always, you know, lead the way in some form of fashion. You know, I couldn't live without them. I need that shit.
Dominique says, in a spiritual context, faith is the trust and belief in something unseen or beyond the intimate scope of understanding. Immediate scope. Intimate and immediate. I can't read, y'all.
I agree with you. Certainly belief in the unseen and beyond understanding. I guess that would apply too.
So, but I don't understand how people expect a logical answer to that. But real quick, Joe, to answer your question, the Bible Belt is a region of the southern United States in the western state of Missouri, where evangelical, I can't say that word.
You said it right.
Evangelical.
Yes, and Protestantism exerts a strong social and cultural influence. It's usually used to describe these 10 states: Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, and Oklahoma.
I've been to all of those places. I don't know about Oklahoma, but I've been to all those places, and I think you're right. Everybody in those places are, well, it's just everybody, but the southern people there are absolutely still into their religions and churches like a motherfucker. I mean, you go visit someone, it ain't much of this shit here where I live, and there'll be churches on the same block. Usually churches are on main streets, and we live on the side streets. No, it might be 3 churches on a block where people live. It's wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In Arkansas, all of my family members, all of them got churches, like half of them pastors, and everybody was like super church oriented. Either they play a big part of the church, or they are the guy at the church or the woman at the church. They got something to do with the funeral home. I think it's attached to not the funeral home, that too, but when we buried my old man, and I think one of them owned that. That was church property or something. And I was listening to I wish I could remember. I think it's Future, but Mama said I wear my heart on my sleeve. But it's a really simple one song, and as soon as my cousins heard it, they're like, "Oh, how can you listen to that?" I'm thinking we're grown. No, I'm not hearing this. But no, they're serious. They don't want to hear that certain type of music. And wow.
There's people that they won't let me bring in, like when we used to have CDs, I'd be like, I have CDs in my car. And they'd be like, don't bring in that devil. Or don't watch those shows. Don't bring in that devil. And as a child, I laughed at that, or I thought, oh my God, how uptight they are. But as
they still do it now. And
I understand. It.
That they were right.
Right. It introduces these thoughts into our mind.
You scared me.
You think so?
Absolutely.
You think so? I mean, I don't know. I felt like it was a projection. I felt like a lot of them were on survival mode when it's talking World War II and earlier generations, because life was just so different. We're not on survival mode. You know, like they had to tend the garden in order to have food. So I felt like some of the things that we've been able to address in our younger generations, they weren't able to cope with that. And so it was swept under, and everything was just they were more helpless.
Survival mode, as you call it. Now we've seen more things.
Listen to the music that our kids listen to. You remember when it was XXXTentacion and Juice World? No, and Juice WRLD, and everybody was their emos. It was all about Molly's Percocets and everything like that. And then we just
straight devil shit now too. Yeah, right? They all wearing the upside down crosses and getting tattoos of upside down crosses.
Absolutely. The TV shows, the videos that they put out, the imagery that they see, it can influence the mind of children.
All right, but this is the more.
But I raise my kids to like push back on every narrative. They question everything. It's like Tupac, trust nobody. And my kids, I'm like, you don't even question me. You know, I want them to be able to critically think in order to create their own reality and create a better reality based on substantial character underneath and a good brain and a good heart. I expose them to all of it. I mean, I don't want to say expose them to all of it. We discuss everything and anything under the sun. You know?
Right. Let me try and encapsulate your argument, because I want to ask Yolanda. It sounds like you're saying, as long as you gird people and have them ready, it's okay for that secular music. Is that a thing, Yolanda, or is it that, you know, listening to Too Short is gonna, I don't give a fuck how much discernment you got, is gonna let some negative shit slip in? Both good arguments.
Well, I just listening. What is the correct pronunciation of
ahimsa?
Ahimsa.
Okay. It means non-violent. It's also a form of yoga and breathing.
Ahimsa. I like that. So I really enjoyed hearing a mother talk like that.
Thanks.
I appreciate hearing a mother say that I want my children to be critical thinkers. So if I had a mother that brought me Tupac and Beethoven, you know, and had those kinds of conversations with me, then that would help me to become a better critical thinker. But unfortunately, I didn't have that. So I have issues now, like with the music that's playing on the radios now, I don't even listen to it. It's a completely different frequency.
Mhm.
As soon as I turn that on, you can hear the difference in the change in the frequency, and my body immediately rejects it. So I think that potentially was what happened with our elders as well. You know, each new generation and style of music, they were in tune to the different change of the frequency, and immediately must have felt the change within it and said, I don't think that's a good thing for you. And then the lyrics on top of it would just be icing on the cake. But
well, check this out. It's interesting that you said the change in other times. You juxtapose Beethoven and Tupac as if Tupac was the more risky. I just Googled some shit because it seemed logical to me that perhaps back then Beethoven, the shit that you're quite sure is harmless, was considered controversial, and oh my God, the kids shouldn't listen to that shit. And guess what Google says? Yeah, it was controversial during his lifetime.
It was
exactly my point. That's why I use Tupac and Beethoven, because in the
good.
different, you know, like each
Yeah.
generation, Mozart. I could say Mozart. I could say Beethoven. I could list all different types of artists, but the
So are
critical.
Tupac good, Beethoven good, Mozart good, Mozart, or where you fall on that? Then are you saying like a himself, listen to anything you want, secular shit?
Yeah, just have the critical thinking behind it. Pay attention to what you're listening to and how it makes you respond to it.
Certainly when you're older, I think you owe yourself to listen to all different types of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. My kids have been exposed to all of them. I had them listen one time to Count Basie's "Mac the Knife" because it seems so upbeat and such a happy song,
Oh,
but it's
Right.
actually
yeah.
about, you know, like taking out like a person, a loan shark guy, basically,
Wow.
who took people
How,
out, and I'm like, and they were like, whoa, and I was like, right,
how
nothing
many
new
of your
under the sun.
how many of your favorite records you later find out was about drugs or something that you had no idea about?
Oh yeah, no, my kids will tell me some of these things too,
You're
and
like,
I'm like,
what? That's
yeah,
what's about?
yeah,
You
like
remember
Tyler the
a record?
Creator or something, and I'm
Yeah,
just like,
Tyler.
whoa, I just like, I like the brass music in there, but I'm like, the lyrics, no, this is so perverse. But you know, I'm just like, whatever, you know. But we just try to be open.
Did my shit just go out? Or you guys?
No, I was wondering why. I was like, what happened?
Sound like her last word cut off. I got
Like,
Chica with
she
that.
cut out too. Yeah.
It's storms over here. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I thought that was my computer.
Yeah. And also, like, the reality shows, we start comparing ourselves to those, and to
Very good.
how come I like this, or damn, I want 5 boyfriends too. You know what I mean?
She's
So,
right. She's right.
so
So even the
that
reality
is like,
shows.
and it comes in slowly and surely, but then you start getting those lustful desires, those greedy desires, and slowly but surely, um there used to be a story that one of the ladies from church would tell me, and she would talk about one time the devil he had decided to go straight. He was going to follow God, so he decided to sell all of his things. Like, he was going to sell lust, he was going to sell all of his tools. And so somebody was at his garage sale, and they saw a little bitty tool, and they were like, well, what is this? He's like, oh, that little tool right there, that's the most powerful one to use against people. It's called doubt.
It's called what?
Doubt. And when we start looking at other things, we start doubting what we have. And it's designed that way by media to get us under their control.
Of course, I would think so. It seems
Yeah.
logical.
Well, as well as ourselves, I think there's a certain level of discontentment that's kind of innate to the human condition. You know, like there's
Is
always.
that true without everybody telling me how inadequate I am? Is it possible that if
Oh
me
yeah,
and
it
everybody in my
starts.
community, yeah, you're right. Even
It
if he
starts
had one
early
more
in
mule than I
childhood.
do, I might act, yeah, the guy
Yes,
next door
sibling
got more
rivalry.
chickens. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always some kind of comparison, and the grass is legit greener where you water it, but it takes a long time for people to find a sense of inner contentment, you know, and
That's
that's an
interesting.
ongoing. What's
Sorry.
that?
I just
Sorry.
think that it's interesting how the synchronicities of my day have been, because this morning I was focusing on Philippians chapter 4, verses 11 through 12. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want.
That's called confirmation. A Christian taught me that word, by the way. I love it and I use it all the time now. That's confirmation, signs and symbols.
True
Signs and symbols,
contentment. Yeah, it comes from trusting in God.
Yeah.
And you also look at the hardships as opportunities to develop your perseverance, to develop your strength, and you also recognize you're put in a position to see God's faith and in his wonders and how he works.
Yeah.
Right. Like how we cultivate contentment, right? And we shift our focus and what we lack. And that's where I went back into it is the teaching of Christ, you know, what we have in Christ, that Christed consciousness that Dom is talking about. I just think that it's really interesting that we're having a conversation about faith, and you both are bringing up what I was learning to strengthen my faith today in the walk.
I want to see that comment again.
Okay.
The synchronicity.
No proof of love and light in so many of these life forces. That was cool. Damn. I want to say none, right? Even the lousy as fuck has their moments. And I try to be that guy when the most unpopular motherfucker is around and everybody's talking about how shitty he is. When the guy does something right, I try to be the guy who tells him, you know, good job. You know, even the shittiest motherfuckers had their moments, man. It was the same.
No, I mean, there are people legitimately born in that level of darkness when you start doing investigative stuff on, you know, people who are legitimately born into, say, like satanic families or something, or something else like that, you know, or even supposedly Christian ones, but they normalize a lot of evil stuff. So, you know, I don't like, to me, the luxury of having high ideals is a luxury when their survival is constantly threatened and all they've been taught is to survive and get off on their adrenaline, you know, and
that's almost
it's
gone
hard.
now in the church. Most of the people in the church are too high-minded. They automatically assume that they know a secret that other people don't, so they're better than most. Most church motherfuckers. I mean, the average church motherfucker would tell you, if you don't belong to my religion, or not just church, Muslim, whatever, then you're doomed to hell. That'll give you an idea where church folk at. You know, they go there and all of them, I don't know, they chase the pastor will have a stretched limo or something crazy, and they all chase that, and they're all bougie, right? I mean, it's snobs, generally speaking.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen some. I think it depends on where you are and what circumstance, and just I've seen that, but I've also seen a lot of other people that are quite different, and so I have a hard time just gauging. I gauge a group by what they decide to do when, as individuals, I guess. You know, you've got an individual responsibility for the groups you choose to join. You don't have a choice when it's your family, but you know, when you become an adult, I put aside childish things, you know, you think like an adult, you know.
Check this out. I got a question for you then. You say you don't have a choice when it comes to your family. Well, I've been taught and I believe that Cynthia is as much as your family as your real sister. Is that a belief you hold? I mean,
Well,
literally, by the way.
well, A, I'm not practicing anything, but B, I jumped up right away and owned my stuff for any offense I gave to her. So yeah, probably
Probably,
probably
yeah.
do view it that way, you know,
So I'm
because I don't I
wondering
don't
if
I don't
we,
want
it
hard
doesn't mean
feelings or anything.
we have to join those organizations, but I think that we owe that same debt to everybody. Whatever duty you feel you have to your family, I don't have to join your group, but I owe a debt to your group. That would include everybody in the church, because they are literally, if I feel like they have a shortcoming, or I could benefit them somehow, I got to step up and say something. The same way I would make sure my kid had my opinion or my advice. Okay. I think, if you love your kid, well, let's go up to adults. You love your brother or your sister, you break your neck for them, which I think that means I'm supposed to break my neck for Cynthia.
Huh. You have
I
a
don't know.
different way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think that way. I think that I think more like Romans 5, where it says, "Owe nothing to anyone except to love them." So how you define love is probably a little bit different than how I would. I
It's only
believe
one
that
love, unconditional love. That word should have been put on there.
only God can love unconditionally. I don't love unconditionally. I don't pretend to. In fact,
That's
I
the
have
goal, though. Yeah,
what I don't know,
unconditional
maybe.
love.
The goal would be to be like God then? I mean, kind of, yeah. I try to use my reason to love people where they're at, but I won't even pretend that I can help everyone, because I will be like, you know what? I'm not your person, but then I'll step back and I'll pray that the right person comes in their life, and maybe, and then
Mhm.
yeah, that's cool when it's not me, but it's someone else who's able to reach into whatever place that they're at and can give them the wisdom that they need, because I know it's not always going to be me.
Does that
It
apply to your
shouldn't.
sister as well? Sometimes you just,
Absolutely.
well, it
Yeah.
sounds like we're on
Yeah.
board. They should be treated the same way. Sounds like we're in agreement again.
It's interesting to me because you look at it as I'm gonna point out the specks in their eyes, because
No,
I
no, no. I said two things. Or if I have to feel like I have to, yeah, okay, go ahead. I forgot the second one.
we go, but you have to point out their flaws or something, and you were like, people, I would have to do that same thing in church. And I gotta tell you, I haven't come across any time in church that anybody's come and pointed out my flaw, but I
Yeah,
can tell you 1,000 times people have come to church and pointed out their own flaws and asked for help getting past that. So I
yeah.
find it interesting that you see people and their flaws versus I don't. I mean, I see their
No,
flaws, but it's not my duty to point them out. It's my duty to be there when they're ready to deal with it.
and it's not your duty to point out their flaws. I don't mean necessarily, the flaws in the sense that most people say flaws, but bad plans. If I see some guy, I know that this is a dumb thing. He's about to, fall in love with the neighborhood hoe. I feel like I owe him a duty.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that. Yeah, I understand.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you got to let people go through it because you might be blocking a lesson that's meant for them. Sometimes I think about the people who betrayed me, and they've always been like the closest people in my life. And then I also understand that lesson wouldn't have been learned if it was just somebody who was here and
that's
there
dope.
in my life.
Yeah,
So
that's dope.
when you
That's
you
dope.
do that, you might be breaking. You have to let people walk their walk.
People are people,
Absolutely.
though,
I like
right?
it when people, instead of like, my closest friends, I'm like, why did you let me do that? You saw it and you knew? And they're like, well, I know you. You're like very stubborn or strong-minded or whatever.
Mhm.
But then they're there to help me get me
Mhm.
off my
how about
ass
how about this
and get back
approach?
in the game. I like
This a
that is
this,
people that can pick you back up
this will be
when you
better for
fall.
them. The only thing missing there is that they should have warned you first, and then while they're helping you up, they get to throw in a "I told you so."
Yep. Yep.
No.
Yep. Exactly. Well, I mean, there probably was like a warning, but it's also respect of my freedom, which is the
Yes.
way I deal with them. And I do that with my kids. I'm like, okay, you're going to have to fall on your ass in order to learn how to get back up into the game. But I don't need to protect you from
Yeah.
falling. I
That's
mean,
the
every
extent of
single
my duty
time.
too.
Yeah.
I hope
That's
I got
just,
that
yeah.
clear when I was talking to you, Sin. I said all I can give them is advice.
Yeah.
And then people are people, and they're gonna do what the fuck they're gonna do. And I can wash my hands. I can watch people walk into the most fucked up shit. And when you're all beat up, I'm gonna be there, and I might throw you, I told you so, but I'm gonna be there to help you up and say, you see the logic,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna come humble. I'm gonna make sure that these people know that I'm just a nobody, and I'm giving my opinion here. But I feel like I owe you that because I don't, I'm still learning more than ever at my age. Still, I don't know everything.
Absolutely. Well,
There
this
was
has
one
been
panel I was on with you, Joe, where you said that there's something you do every day is you never pray for yourself, but you pray for everyone
oh
else.
I
yeah.
don't remember the last time I prayed for myself.
Yeah,
That's horrible, Joe.
ever since you said that, I just started praying for you.
Well, thank you.
That's
Thank you.
horrible,
I'm
Joe.
like, oh, that's cool.
That's
You got some
horrible.
stuff that
Wait,
you're
wait.
up
You said that's
against.
horrible. She said, "Why?"
No,
Yes.
that's
I
horrible.
say I say it's horrible that you feel that way.
Why?
Because
He's
Oh, okay.
giving
I
me.
thought you.
why would you feel like that? Like, why would you think that the creator wouldn't want you to talk to him about what you have going on? Like,
Because he's giving me everything. I am
help me, but
absolutely
help
fine.
me understand this lesson through your eyes. Help
I'm
me to
telling you
understand.
now.
Now, hang
He's
on,
He's content.
That's
no,
an
but I just don't
understatement.
understand that.
I'm telling you now. Just be quiet. I could not have imagined to ask for the things that he's
Oh,
given me every day. I have no desire to ask him for more. Right? I got more than, oh my God. How could I? It's like a
Right?
motherfucker back up a Brinks truck, drop money on you, and you say, oh, if you dropped another truck, I could have got that island in Bermuda. I don't, need to ask, man.
that's crazy because I have so much to ask for. I have so much to ask for. Knowledge, understanding, help me learn these lessons, help me where I'm weak. So,
Mm,
hang on one second. I'm getting ready to end the show.
yeah.
However, I'm also setting up a new show that will be going on in about 40 minutes. I hope you hear me in the back. I'm setting it up right now. Hang on. And then I'm going to drop the link for you in the back, and then you come back on that stream. I'm not going to bring you up on this stream, however, but I will bring you up on this stream that I just created for you. So let me get this for you. While I'm doing that, does Ashmir or Asmir or Joe, I want to say it right because do y'all have
Yolanda, how do you say it? Is Yolanda still there?
if she's not speaking, she might have taken her little security team out as well.
Yeah.
Ahimsa.
Ahimsa. Okay. I put that.
I'm back. Yes, sorry. Ahimsa.
Ahimsa.
Yeah.
All right.
As opposed to a HRSA, it's a HIMSA.
There you go.
Ahimsa. All right. So he left, but I will do that in a minute. Do y'all have any final words? I definitely enjoyed y'all coming up here and engaging in this conversation with us. I think no matter what your belief is, I encourage you to always speak on it, no matter if you're in a room with like-minded believers or if you're in a room, goodbye. Yeah. Or if you're in a room with like-minded believers. It's important. It like old Joe says, Joe says, it helps strengthen your own faith as well. And number two, you never know who's listening. You never know what seed you are planting in other people, what plants you are watering in other people, what harvest you're gathering for others. It is important to have these type conversations. They may not be the hottest conversations on the panel burst, but they are ones that do make you think. And anytime you can think and elevate yourself, I consider that a great day. Do you have any final thoughts, Joe, before we head out?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I echo your sentiments. It's a great conversation, and I'm glad we had it on a small panel like this, because I'm realizing now that when there's 10 people, you don't get to be intimate with people like this. So I think everything went swimming and well. So
Awesome. I appreciate you coming up,
all
and
right,
thank you.
later,
You guys,
Yolanda. Later, Seth.
bye. If you guys have not checked out Joe Cool, please make sure to check him out. I will have his link at the end of the show in the description box. However, don't do anything Joe does, okay? You leave those fine working men and women in blue alone. Don't be making their job more stressful like Joe does.
Well, I found a really nice little prayer that I'd like to have my final thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. Dear Creator of all, as we navigate the currents of connectivity and innovation, we seek your guidance and your wisdom. Help us find balance amid the constant hum of screens and the rapid pace of change. We are grateful for the wonders of technology that have connected us across oceans and continents. Yet, in the midst of the interconnected world, we acknowledge the challenges that technology poses to our well being. The relentless stream of information can overwhelm us, leaving us feeling anxious and disconnected. We confess that we sometimes prioritize screens over faces, virtual interactions over genuine connection. In our pursuit of progress, may we lose sight of the simple joys of life and the beauty of the natural world you have so intricately designed. We come before you, recognizing the gifts and challenges that technology brings into our lives. We seek your wisdom to find balance and harmony to guide us in the digital age and to help us maintain a steadfast connection to the divine.
Oh, well said. So beautiful, Yolanda. You always have the right words.
Take care.
Thank you, Yolanda. Alrighty, guys, we have now concluded with Chica's Locas number 7. Please remember we go live every Wednesday at between 6 and 6:30. We're kind of, shifty there. Eastern Standard Time, 8 and 8:30 Central Standard Time. We just have conversations. I like the way Joe Cool said earlier, it is these small, intimate panels that do allow for conversation. And well, that's my objective, is to have good conversation that leaves you thinking a little bit more and leaves you a little bit full. We talked tonight about sharing our faith. Old Joe came up and said that, sometimes sharing our faith is something beyond language that we can explain. So I loved the way he said that, because when we have these conversations and perhaps you don't understand the beliefs of another, please be respectful and just try to get to know them and provide an opportunity for them to be who they are. I think all of us are on a spiritual journey. All of us are looking for a deeper connection to ourselves, perhaps even with others. And we're all looking for the purpose of why are we here? I thank each and every one of you for coming in. And I do hope you guys hit the like button. And let's see, who do we want to go out? Well, there's nobody greater.
A couple reasons I wanted to come to you tonight. You all are the age of being my children. And I want to talk to you as a parent maybe has never talked to you before. You're only here once. God has bestowed you with life. He could have made you a rose that lasted 7 days, or a butterfly that only lasted 3 weeks. But he chose to give you the highest form of life, that of being a human being. And with that, he gave you goals and dreams. And I'm here to tell you, and I don't really know you, but there's no one in here who can achieve health and who cannot achieve success.